Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I have been working tirelessly with experimenting and goofing around with this. I'd like to give a warm welcome to all you new subscribers. Thank you for coming along board. I really appreciate you subscribing, and hopefully we have a very nice relationship. Yeah, thank you. Seriously. Update. So I have been doing much experimentation with the adhesion of the vinyl on the MDF. So if you don't know, I'm using MDF as the base for this entire thing. Not the best choice, and I wish I could use something different, but it needs to be used because it's the cheapest and it is the best for having consistent sound quality and zero warping over time. And especially with the adhesion of a vinyl with warping that can equal very terrible craftsmanship and quality. Now, I have been experimenting with using paint, enameled paint, oiled paint, latex paint. I have done a series of tests using a test board, which I will pull out right now. Ow! I just whacked my head. Okay. Ow! Gosh. I'm good. Alright, so we got lots of tests here with different vinyls. I tore them off, saw how strong it was, etc. Don't worry, I wrote down my results. There you go. Okay. So, the reason I was trying out paint first and foremost was because the vinyl, especially the yellow vinyl, is very susceptible to the color it is placed on top of. So white paint produces a much more vibrant color than a brown crap colored MDF. I tried silicone. I thought silicone would be a good idea because if this is just stuck onto MDF, it's just going to be non-water type. It does have initial water resistant properties, but once it gets into the edges, or maybe underneath these brackets, or maybe underneath all these places, it can easily just be eaten away at by water. Obviously this isn't meant for water, but I like to think that it would be more robust than a pile of toilet paper. So, where was I going with that? So every single test ended up with the using of PVA glue or wood glue, a different type of PVA, as a base, because the vinyl sticks the best to that, and that could be put on top of paint, but mostly it was best used as just put straight on top of the vinyl. I did like 20 different things, and the paint was just such a pain and such a bigger expense than it needed to be. Once you put the vinyl on, I determined that the color was consistent throughout and it looked fine. So right now on this one I have a layer. I have MDF sanded smooth. I have PVA painted on. It's a watered down PVA wood glue. That put all over it, sanded that down to reduce bumps, and then put the vinyl on. Now that's a lot of steps and a lot of things can go wrong, which I have to think about a production process, because if I have MDF glue and vinyl, that's 2 layers in between all that stuff can get into. And then you have to have a dust-free environment, which I don't have in my situation. So I have, if you look very closely, I have a tiny bump here, maybe here, and that pisses me off. It's only like 3 on the whole speaker, but that's very annoying. And in the end result, it's not completely perfect, and the production is very long. It's very long. The whole vinyling of this probably takes 5 hours because it's all being cut by hand. So I'll go into that in a little bit. So this is the reason the vinyling is taking so long. And as you can tell, it's carbon fiber vinyling. The reason it's taking so long is because each individual piece is cut. So this triangle, that rectangle, this rectangle, the back triangle, etc. Now, I forgot to do this, but I can take this and I could make this connected with this, and make that all one piece to reduce the amount of cuts. But it's very difficult to line it up perfectly. And then it's just a matter of trimming perfectly. I know they probably make tools for this. I couldn't find any. I'll probably end up making my own tools if I proceed with using vinyl. That's the big question right now. So everything in this speaker, as I said, is done. Everything, all the hardware is done. The only thing that isn't done is whether or not I should use vinyl and what color I should use. Basically what the box is going to be made out of. The reason I'm disliking vinyl right now, this is the only reason, and I cannot find a way around this issue, is because, if you can hear that, it's kind of hard to see in the camera, but this yellow vinyl peels. The purple vinyl works fantastically at adhering to itself at the corner. This is pretty much watertight. This is terrible. And I know that although this seems watertight, it probably isn't perfect. And I can't rely on the vinyl being here nor there and not being able to have a consistent result. So, where am I going with that? So that's the biggest issue that needs to be solved, and I've tried laying strips of black all along each edge and seeing how that looked, and it just doesn't look as good. I've also tried just gaffer's tape, seeing how it looks. Nothing floats my boat that much. Another thing I have been experimenting with is the box forming. Right now I'm doing 45-degree bevels on each edge, and that is how I'm joining it with wood glue. Now, in terms of everything else is placed more or less 99% where it's going to be in the end product. The only thing that might be different is whether it's going to be vinyl, or I'm not even going to use vinyl, or maybe I'll use wood. That would be cool. The only reason I'm thinking about using wood is because of the pain the vinyl has been and the uncertainty it's going to be using vinyl. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to be using vinyl myself, but I know someone else will be. And if I can't do it by myself with the minimal tools I have in a whole day, and it can't be perfect, I doubt someone's going to be able to do it in an hour and have it be perfect. And an hour is a long time to be applying vinyl. So you got the battery meter, you got the charger, and down here you have your USB charging. I will demonstrate. The USB charging. Phone, plug in. There you go. Okay, so this light, or this switch right here, you can't see, is so you can control whether you like the battery meter on or off. I prefer it on. And then on the bottom, we have our porting and rubber feet, and inside we have all our components which have been secured down. Probably in a terrible manner, in an unprofessional manner, but this is still a prototype and we don't even have funds to produce. So, that's where we're at with all that. Now I'm going to go into the vinyl debate, whether or not I should use it or whether or not I should scrap it. And if you love these colors, leave a comment right now and let me know. I liked these colors, were the first colors that came into my head, and they kind of sparked the initial inspiration to create this. And I have this theme. We're going to have more than one color pair. But what I had just recently thought of this past week, as I was contemplating over all these piss off issues that are tiny little mosquitoes biting at my ankles, with the vinyl, I thought of wood. Now, already these are being handmade in the United States, and we're shooting for something that looks like it's being mass produced. Now, that's all said and good, but why not have it look like it's handmade? Why not have an entire wooden box with wooden box joints, possibly, or just wood, And I think a lot of people would love that. I would like it. And I would really like the look of box joints. And it would accentuate the amount of work that's being put into it. And it would be the same amount of work, if not less work, and definitely less money just to use wood. Now, the type of wood, as you can already guess, will probably have to be plywood, because you need constrained dimensions for this box. It can't warp in any way, or else it'll be conducive to cracking on the edges and the sound. It's very important that you have confined dimensions. I'm not sure of any ways to use pure oak or pure hardwood and make a box with 4 sides that doesn't in some way warp. I'm sure there's a way, but I think plywood will be a very good substitute, and when you have good quality plywood, it'll look just as nice. And it's conducive to routing the edges to make a nice rounded corner, or however it will be. So that is something I have not yet decided on or thought enough about, but I'll throw it out to you guys. Let me know what you think. A minor issue is the amount of time it takes to assemble electronically. This takes a decent amount of time. I could probably do it all in, if I had enough practice, 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours maybe. And that's putting everything in. I mean, it takes forever even to put these brackets in one by one, like correctly. So it takes a little bit of time, and that was factored in. If you've ever seen the video in the beginning, it was factored in around $60 of labor per speaker, and that might be dead on, if not a little low. Yeah. Okay, so that's my update. I did all this experimentation with the vinyl, and I might even just scrap it. It sucks, but you know, you win some, you lose some, okay? You gotta do it. If we choose to do wood, these speakers can actually be mounted in the inside, however much that provides a better look or not. Right now the speakers on the outside measure 6.5 inches, and that is factored into the entire length, and it is a golden ratio. So that would change things a little bit. If you guys don't know what the golden ratio is, look it up. This whole speaker is based off the golden ratio. Every single measurement of the box and the box dimensions, as well as the speakers. The tweeters are a little off, and the top handle, other stuff. Okay, now I'm done talking. Here we go. Hey. Oh, I have one more thing. Okay. This was a thought I had, you know, because if you've seen my other work, RetroBlue, I made Bluetooth speakers out of suitcases. This is a whole nother level in terms of sound quality, etc. Now, a wooden version of this would be much more along the lines of that vintage theme. And the vintage theme is very hot now. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making this up as I go along, boy. No idea. Worst comes to worst, in my mind, the Kickstarter doesn't work. I just make a YouTube video. A really cool YouTube video about how to build one. And I'll get like 2 views, and I'll sell out.